Rain fell over Manhattan like silver needles, turning the streets into mirrors of neon and headlights. On the 32nd floor of the Halston Grand Hotel, Adrian Moretti sat alone at a black marble table. At 38, Adrian controlled one of the most feared criminal organizations on the East Coast. His influence stretched from private clubs in New York to shipping companies in Baltimore and construction firms in Philadelphia. Politicians avoided speaking his name publicly. Businessmen returned his calls immediately. Even his enemies lowered their voices when discussing him. But that night, Adrian was not thinking about power. Someone inside his organization was betraying him. 3 shipments had been intercepted in 6 weeks. 2 private meetings had been exposed. One of his oldest financial accounts had been frozen hours before millions of dollars were supposed to be transferred. Someone close to him was leaking information. Adrian looked around the private dining room. 12 men sat at the long table. His brother, Luca Moretti, sat to his right. Luca was younger, impatient, and ambitious. Across from him sat Harold Quinn, Adrian's longtime advisor, a gray-haired man who had served the Moretti family for nearly 30 years. The others were captains, lawyers, and business partners. Adrian studied each face. Someone in this room, he said quietly, has been selling information. Nobody moved. The rain struck the windows behind him. Luca leaned forward. Give me 48 hours. I'll find out who. Adrian looked at his brother. That is exactly what a guilty man would say. The room became silent. Luca's face tightened. Then the door opened. Every man turned. A young Korean woman entered carrying a leather folder. She wore a dark business suit and carried herself with calm precision. Her expression showed neither nervousness nor admiration. Adrian's security chief immediately stood. Who are you? The woman looked directly at Adrian. My name is Mina Choi. I was invited. Harold Quinn frowned. By whom? By Mr. Moretti. Everyone looked at Adrian. Adrian slowly stood. He had never seen her before. No, he said. You weren't. Mina did not react. Instead, she placed the leather folder on the table and pushed it toward him. You will want to read page 7 before your meeting continues. Adrian stared at her. His guards moved closer. Open it, Mina said. Adrian picked up the folder. Inside were financial records, photographs, dates, and shipping manifests. He turned to page 7. His expression changed. The room noticed. What is it? Luca asked. Adrian closed the folder. Meeting over. Nobody moved. I said leave. Within seconds, chairs scraped against the floor. The men began leaving. Luca remained. Adrian. Go. His brother stared at Mina before walking away. Soon, Adrian and Mina were alone except for 2 guards standing near the door. Adrian opened the folder again. The documents showed that someone had created a network of. For the first time that evening, Adrian laughed. It was brief. Almost surprised. You are either very brave or very foolish. Those are often confused. Adrian turned toward her. Something about the woman interested him. Not her appearance alone. It was her complete absence of fear. Everyone feared Adrian Moretti. Mina Choi did not seem impressed. What do you want? He asked. $200,000. For what? I'll identify the person betraying you. Adrian studied her. And if you're lying? Then you will never see me again. That isn't usually how things work with me. I know exactly how things work with you. Her answer made Adrian pause. Mina knew more than she should. He should have ordered his men to search her. He should have investigated her. Instead, he said, you have 1 week. Mina nodded. Then I'll need access to your financial records. No. Your shipping records. No. Your communication logs. No. Mina picked up her handbag. Then good luck. She walked toward the door. Adrian watched her. Wait. She stopped. Adrian smiled slightly. You enjoy this, don't you? No. You enjoy telling powerful men no. Mina turned around. Powerful men rarely hear it enough. Adrian looked at her for several seconds. Come to my office tomorrow morning. I'll be there at 9. 8. 9. She walked out. Adrian's security chief, Daniel Cross, entered moments later. You want me to investigate her? Adrian continued looking at the closed door. Everything. Daniel nodded. What are we looking for? Adrian returned to the table. The reason she isn't afraid of me. Across the city, Mina entered the back seat of a black sedan. A man was waiting for her. Victor Kang was a Korean-American businessman with expensive suits, political connections, and a quiet reputation for destroying competitors without ever appearing near the destruction. How did it go? Victor asked. He trusts nobody, Mina replied. He doesn't need to trust you. He only needs to let you close. Mina looked through the rain-covered window. Victor handed her a small encrypted device. Get access to his accounts, his routes, and his contacts. Everything. Mina took the device. And after that? Victor smiled. Adrian Moretti loses his empire. Mina looked back toward the hotel. She had been hired to betray a dangerous man. What she did not know was that the most dangerous part of the mission would not be getting close to Adrian Moretti. It would be discovering that she did not want to leave. Mina arrived at Moretti Tower at exactly 9 o'clock. Adrian was already irritated. You're late. No. You asked for 8. I said 9. Adrian looked at the clock. It was exactly 9 a.m. He tried not to smile. Sit down. His office occupied the top floor of the building, overlooking the Hudson River. Mina placed her laptop on the conference table. For the next 6 hours, she reviewed financial records. Adrian expected questions. She asked almost none. Instead, she moved through spreadsheets and transaction histories with astonishing speed. At 4 in the afternoon, she turned her laptop toward him. You have 7 companies losing money. I know. No, you don't. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Mina pointed to a series of transactions. The companies aren't failing. Someone is making them look unsuccessful while moving profits through subcontractors. How much? Approximately $18 million over 3 years. Adrian's expression hardened. Who? I need more time. Over the following weeks, Mina became a constant presence in Adrian's world. She attended meetings, reviewed contracts, analyzed encrypted messages. She also secretly copied information for Victor Kang. Every night, she transferred selected files to the encrypted device. At first, it was easy. Adrian Moretti was only a target. Then she began seeing things Victor had never told her. Adrian quietly paid the medical expenses of retired employees. He protected businesses in neighborhoods where his organization operated. He remembered the names of drivers, cleaners, and security guards. None of that made him innocent, but it made him human. One evening, Adrian found Mina alone in the office. It was almost midnight. You're still here. So are you. I own the building. That doesn't make sleeping here healthy. Adrian poured himself a drink. You always give advice nobody asks for? Yes. He laughed. Mina looked at him. She was beginning to understand why people followed him. Adrian was dangerous, but his greatest strength was not fear. It was loyalty. Why did you choose this life? She asked. Adrian stopped smiling. I didn't. Everyone chooses. Not always. He sat across from her. My father was killed when I was 19. My mother had no money. My brother was 14. Men came to our house and told us what we owed. What did you do? I paid them. How? Adrian looked out the window. I became better at their business than they were. Mina closed her laptop. And now? Now nobody comes to my house. There was something lonely in the answer. Mina understood loneliness. She had spent years moving between Seoul, Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, working for powerful clients who saw her intelligence as a tool. Victor Kang had been different. Or so she had believed. He had helped her when she had nothing. Now she owed him. The room was filled with politicians, investors, actors, and journalists. Adrian moved through the crowd like a man who owned the building. Mina stayed beside him. You hate these events, she said. How can you tell? You've checked the exit 11 times. Adrian looked at her. You counted? I notice things. That is what worries me. Across the room, a waiter dropped a tray. The sudden crash caused several people to turn. Mina did not. Instead, she noticed a man near the emergency exit reaching inside his jacket. Adrian. Her voice changed. He immediately understood. Security moved quickly. The man was intercepted before he could approach them. Minutes later, Adrian and Mina were inside an armored vehicle. Adrian stared at her. "You saw him before my security team?" "Yes." "How?" "He was watching you, but pretending not to." Adrian leaned back. "You saved my life." "I noticed something suspicious." "Same difference." Mina looked away. Her phone vibrated. A message from Victor. "Final phase. I need the complete route schedule by Friday." Mina turned off the screen. Adrian noticed. "Problem?" "No. Boyfriend." She looked at him. "Why? Are you curious?" "No." You answered quickly. Adrian smiled. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then the vehicle stopped outside Mina's apartment. She reached for the door. "Mina." She turned. Adrian's expression was serious. "Be careful." "Of what?" "People who get close to me don't usually have peaceful lives." Mina held his gaze. "Maybe you should be careful too." She stepped out. That night, Mina sat alone in her apartment staring at the encrypted device. She had the route schedule Victor wanted. If she sent it, Victor would know where Adrian would be on Friday night. She understood what that meant. Her phone rang. "Victor." She answered. "Do you have the schedule?" Mina looked at the device. "Yes." "Send it." She remained silent. "Mina? I need more time." Victor's voice became cold. "You're not there to understand Adrian Moretti. You're there to destroy him." The call ended. Mina stared into the darkness. For the first time since accepting the mission, she was afraid. Not of Adrian discovering her betrayal. She was afraid of what would happen if he never did. Friday night arrived. Adrian was scheduled to travel to a private meeting in Brooklyn. Mina had not sent the route to Victor. But Victor King had other sources. At 8:17 p.m., Adrian's convoy entered a warehouse district near the river. Mina was sitting beside him. Something felt wrong. The streets were too empty. Then she saw the abandoned delivery truck blocking the road ahead. "Stop the car." The driver hit the brakes. A vehicle crashed into the convoy from behind. Chaos followed. Security guards moved Adrian and Mina away from the exposed vehicles, while Daniel Cross directed the team toward a side entrance of a nearby warehouse. Within minutes, Adrian's men had secured the area. The attackers disappeared as quickly as they had arrived. Adrian was furious. Only a handful of people had known the route. Mina's stomach tightened. Back at Moretti Tower, Adrian ordered every phone collected. Nobody was allowed to leave. Daniel entered the office carrying a tablet. "We found something." Adrian looked at the screen. A digital access log. Someone had copied the route schedule 3 days earlier. The login credentials belonged to Mina Choi. Adrian said nothing. Daniel continued. "We searched her office." He placed an encrypted device on the desk. Adrian stared at it. "Where is she?" "Conference room." Adrian walked there alone. Mina sat at the table. She knew. Adrian entered and closed the door. For the first time since they met, Mina could not look him in the eyes. "Who hired you?" Silence. "Mina." "Victor Kong." Adrian's face remained still. "How long?" "From the beginning." Every memory changed in that instant. The hotel. The documents. The investigation. The late nights. The museum. Everything. Adrian stepped closer. "Was any of it real?" Mina looked up. "Yes." "Which part?" She could not answer. Adrian laughed bitterly. "That is what I thought. I didn't send the route." "But you copied it." "Yes." "Why?" "Because that was my job." Adrian stared at her. "And what am I to you?" Mina's voice softened. "I don't know anymore." The answer hurt him more than a lie would have. Adrian turned away. Mina stood. "Victor has been planning this for years. He wants your shipping network and your legitimate businesses. He doesn't only want you removed. He wants to replace you." Adrian turned back. "Why should I believe anything you say?" "You shouldn't." The honesty surprised him. Mina continued. "But if Victor failed tonight, He will try again. And now he knows I'm no longer useful. Adrian's expression changed slightly. He'll come after you. Yes. You expect me to protect you? No. Mina walked toward the door. Adrian blocked her path. Where are you going? To finish what I started. You mean betray someone else? She looked directly into his eyes. If that's what you need to believe. She stepped around him. Adrian let her leave. But 2 hours later, Daniel entered his office. Mina disappeared. Adrian looked up. What? Her apartment was searched. There were signs someone had been looking for her. Adrian stood immediately. Daniel noticed. You said she was no longer our problem. Adrian grabbed his coat. I changed my mind. Mina was being held in an abandoned restaurant in Queens. Victor Kang sat across from her. You disappointed me, he said. Mina's hands were restrained to the chair. You used me. I paid you. You told me Adrian killed your father. He did. No. I checked. Your father died in Seoul before Adrian ever entered the business. Victor smiled. You became curious. You lied to me for years. I gave you a purpose. You gave me your hatred. Victor stood. Where are the backup files? I deleted them. His smile disappeared. Wrong answer. Before he could say more, the lights went out. Darkness filled the restaurant. Shouting came from the hallway. Victor's men moved toward the doors. Within moments, Adrian's security team entered the building. Adrian found Mina and freed her. You came, she whispered. He looked at her. Don't make me regret it. Victor escaped through a rear exit. Outside, Adrian and Mina stood beside the waiting cars. Mina looked at him. Why did you save me? Adrian answered without hesitation. Because whatever else you lied about, you warned me about the attack. That doesn't erase what I did. No. Then what happens now? Adrian looked toward the city lights. Now we find Victor Kong. Mina nodded. And after that? Adrian opened the car door. I haven't decided. But Mina understood something from the way he looked at her. He was not deciding whether she lived. He was deciding whether he could ever trust her again. And she did not know which answer frightened her more. Victor Kong disappeared. For 3 weeks, there was no trace of him. Then Adrian's empire began to collapse. Banks closed accounts. Business partners disappeared. Government investigations began. Warehouses lost contracts. Someone leaked years of financial information to Adrian's enemies. Victor had prepared for this moment long before Mina entered Adrian's life. The Moretti organization began turning against itself. Luca blamed Mina. She caused this, he shouted during a meeting. And you're keeping her in this building. Adrian remained calm. She is helping us. She betrayed us. So have people who share my blood. Luca froze. Adrian looked around the table. Victor could not have built this operation without someone inside my family. The room became silent. Mina entered carrying several documents. I found the connection. She placed the documents on the table. The payments led to a private company in Delaware. The company was controlled by Luca Moretti. Adrian looked at his brother. Luca's face turned pale. You don't understand. Then explain. Luca stood. You were going to control everything forever. There was no place for me. You were my brother. I was your shadow. Adrian looked at him with disappointment rather than anger. That was worse. Luca continued. Victor promised me control of New York. Mina shook her head. He lied. There are transfer agreements already prepared. Once Adrian was gone, Victor planned to remove you too. Luca looked at the papers. His hands trembled. Adrian stood. Leave. Luca stared at him. What? Before I forget you're my brother. Luca slowly walked out. Adrian stood silently for a long time. Mina approached. I'm sorry. Don't. For what? Feeling sorry for me. I don't. Adrian looked at her. Then what do you feel? Mina hesitated. Too much had happened between them. Too many lies. Too many moments that had become real despite beginning as manipulation. I wish I had met you differently. Adrian looked away. But you didn't. No. And I can't change what you did. I know. He turned toward her. But I also can't forget what you did after. Mina remained silent. Adrian stepped closer. You could have given Victor my route. I know. You didn't. No. Why? Mina finally answered. Because I couldn't let him hurt you. Adrian's expression softened. Before either could say more, Daniel entered. We found Victor. Victor was preparing to leave the country from a private airfield outside Philadelphia. Adrian assembled a small team. Mina insisted on going. No, Adrian said. I know Victor better than anyone. That is exactly why you're staying. He will expect you to attack. I am going to attack. And that is exactly what he wants. Adrian frowned. Mina showed him a map. Victor. Mina spread the blueprint across Adrian's desk. Her fingers stopped on a small warehouse located 2 miles from the private airfield. This is where Victor will be. Daniel cross-frowned. The intelligence says he's boarding a private jet. Mina shook her head. No, that's what he wants you to believe. She pointed to another building beside the runway. The aircraft is bait. Victor never trusts a single escape plan. While everyone storms the airfield, he'll leave through the river using a waiting yacht. Adrian looked at the map for several long seconds. How sure are you? 99%. And the other 1%? Mina looked directly into his eyes. I've already been wrong once. I don't intend to be wrong again. Silence filled the room. Finally, Adrian folded the blueprint. We split our forces. Daniel immediately began giving orders. Within 20 minutes, armored SUVs disappeared into the Philadelphia night, half headed toward the airfield. The rest followed Adrian, Mina, and Daniel toward the abandoned warehouse overlooking the Delaware River. The building looked deserted. Too deserted. Daniel raised his hand. Movement. Armed men appeared from behind shipping containers. Gunfire erupted across the dock. Concrete exploded around them as bullets struck the walls. Daniel's team returned fire while Adrian moved Mina behind a stack of steel crates. You stay here. I'm not hiding. You are tonight. I'm the reason we're here. And that's exactly why I'm keeping you alive. Mina stared at him. Even in the middle of a firefight, Adrian's concern was unmistakable. Daniel's voice echoed through the warehouse. Left side clear. Victor's men slowly retreated toward the marina. They're buying time, Mina shouted. For what? The boat? Adrian immediately understood. Move. They sprinted through the warehouse toward the private dock. A sleek black yacht had already started its engines. Victor Kang stood on the deck wearing a charcoal overcoat, smiling as though he had expected them all along. I knew you'd come, Victor called. And I knew she'd bring you. Mina stepped forward. It's over, Victor. Victor laughed. No, Mina. It's just beginning. He pressed a button on a remote control. A deafening explosion tore through the warehouse behind them. Flames burst into the night sky. The shockwave knocked everyone to the ground. Daniel looked back. The building was rigged. Victor smiled. I never leave loose ends. The yacht slowly pulled away from the dock. Adrian grabbed a nearby speedboat. We're going after him. Daniel climbed aboard. So did Mina. Adrian looked at her. You don't have to do this. She met his eyes. I've been running from my mistakes long enough. The engines roared. The chase across the river became a blur of crashing waves, flashing lights, and flying spray. Victor's guards fired from the yacht. Daniel returned fire while steering between floating barges. The distance closed rapidly. When they came alongside the yacht, Adrian jumped first. He landed hard on the deck and immediately collided with one of Victor's guards. Daniel followed seconds later. Mina climbed aboard last. Victor stood near the helm. So this is how it ends? No, Adrian replied. This is where you finally lose. Victor smiled coldly. You already lost. He looked toward Mina. Tell him. Mina frowned. Victor continued. I recorded everything. He pulled a phone from his pocket. Every conversation. Every file she ever copied. He tossed the phone onto the deck. Even if you kill me, he'll never completely trust you. The words lingered in the cold night air. Adrian looked at Mina. For a brief moment, uncertainty crossed his face. Victor noticed. There it is. He laughed. The doubt. Before anyone could react, Victor drew a concealed pistol. He aimed directly at Adrian. Mina moved without thinking. She stepped between them. The gunshot echoed across the river. Time seemed to stop. Mina collapsed. Victor stared in disbelief. Adrian caught her before she hit the deck. Mina. Blood stained the sleeve of her dress where the bullet had grazed her shoulder. She forced a weak smile. "I'm okay." Victor tried to fire again. Daniel tackled him from behind. The weapon slid across the deck. Within seconds, Victor was restrained. Police boats surrounded the yacht from every direction. Blue lights reflected across the dark water. Victor Kong looked at Adrian one final time. "You'll never trust her." Adrian walked toward him slowly. "No." Victor smiled. "I knew it." Adrian looked back at Mina as paramedics treated her wound. Then he turned to Victor. "I won't trust her because of what she says." Victor frowned. "I'll trust her because of what she was willing to sacrifice." Victor lowered his head. For the first time in years, he had nothing left to say. Underscore 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 underscore. 3 months later. The Moretti organization no longer resembled the empire it once had. Adrian sold several illegal operations. The legitimate businesses expanded instead. Daniel often joked that Adrian had become more of a businessman than a crime boss. Adrian usually ignored him. On a bright autumn afternoon, Adrian stood inside the grand foyer of his mansion. Sunlight poured through the towering windows, filling the marble hall with warm golden light. He adjusted the cuff of his jacket as footsteps echoed behind him. Mina entered wearing an elegant cream-colored dress. She had fully recovered. The scar on her shoulder had almost disappeared. "You wanted to see me?" she asked. Adrian nodded. "I've spent months trying to decide something." She smiled softly. "You always overthink everything." "I do." He walked closer until only a few feet separated them. "I can't erase what happened." "I know. I probably never will." "I know. But every day since the river." He paused. "You've shown me that people can change." Mina looked down briefly. "I don't expect forgiveness. I'm not offering forgiveness." She looked back up. "I'm offering something harder." "What?" "A future." Her eyes widened. "You still want me here?" "I've wanted you here since the night you walked into that hotel." He smiled. "I was simply too stubborn to admit it." Mina laughed quietly. "So what happens now?" Adrian stepped closer. "You once told me powerful men don't hear the word no often enough." "I remember. I'm asking you anyway." He reached into his pocket. Instead of a ring, he produced a simple silver key. Mina looked at it curiously. "What's this?" "The front door." "To your mansion?" "To our home." She stared at him in silence. "If you choose it." Tears filled her eyes. "You trust me with your home?" Adrian smiled. "I trust the woman who stood in front of a bullet for me." Mina wrapped her arms around him. For the first time since they met, neither of them was hiding behind secrets, lies, or fear. Outside, the gates of the Moretti estate slowly opened as the afternoon sun illuminated the long driveway. The empire Adrian had spent years protecting had nearly destroyed him. But the woman sent to betray him had ultimately become the one person willing to risk everything to save him. Sometimes love begins with honesty. Sometimes it begins with betrayal. But its true measure is found in what people choose after the truth is revealed. And on that bright autumn afternoon, Adrian Moretti finally chose trust over fear, and Mina Choi chose to stay.